Dia de los Muertos, a mixed method study of a cultural experience. Every year, the City of Edinburgh and the Museum of South Texas History work collaboratively with the community to celebrate El Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, on or around the celebratory date of November 2nd, 2023. In a city that has a Hispanic Latino population of more than 80%, it is important to understand people's specific interests and needs regarding this event. As a researcher, I would use the explanatory sequential design where quantitative data is collected before qualitative data. In today's day and age, many of the families are third and fourth generation Hispanic or Latino. I would begin with a quantitative survey exploring people's attitudes regarding Day of the Dead. I want to know what specific issues participants are concerned about and want to address. Additional important queries addressed in the quantitative survey would be what race the participant is, what generation Hispanic, if at all, they are, their gender to see if there are differences in attitudes and expectations, and their economic status to determine if opinions and ideas vary. The qualitative component comes in when I select a subset of the survey respondents to interview. The data collected will help me to explain the results of the survey in depth. I believe that El Dia de los Muertos is a topic appropriate for an action research study because it would help us understand how participants interpret the Day of the Dead as a cultural tradition within their community. The first principle for action research applies. The Dia de los Muertos celebration is currently a positive practice. However, at a deeper level, I feel that Hispanic or Latino parents that are third or fourth generation are genuinely concerned about their children. Because many families no longer travel to Mexico, the country of their roots, they are worried that their children will be acculturated. They do not want their children to lose their identity and cultural traditions. This study would seek to engage them in the process to solve this issue and improve the process related to this event. The second principle for action research is that the design of the study be emergent. This study will unfold as the participants are involved with the researcher in the planning process. Then they will implement the changes they want to see into the event. In the next phase, they will observe to see what happens because of their actions. And finally, they will reflect on what they do as a result of the data they collected and analyzed. The third principle of action, which involves the participation of the participants as co investigators, will also be met, as together with the researcher, they decide what action to take in respect to the event. They will decide on the actions that will most impact the community in attendance. The fourth principle of action in this study constitutes the researcher being an insider to the community under study. As a Hispanic female involved with cultural traditions, the lead researcher will have a deep understanding of the event under study. The final principle of action research will involve the researcher and co-investigators collecting and analyzing qualitative data through interviews conducted before and after the event. I believe that a critical action research approach would be acceptable, and I deem it as appropriate. If this were a critical study, the power relations that I would be studying would involve the societal structures of class and religion. One aspect of Day of the Dead that could be explored would be the amount of money spent on altars and celebrations according to class. Further, different religions also have different variations of the Day of the Dead, which could be explored. As previously stated, I would be an insider as a Hispanic researcher studying El Dia de los Muertos. I would mainly be talking to Hispanic Latino participants as I gather qualitative data via interviews and focus groups. Participants would understand the research is being conducted together and will not be about them. Reflexivity would manifest itself as the researcher relates to the parents being interviewed. In retrospect, the researcher will be affected as a result of the study's findings. Many opportunities exist to use arts based approaches in either the gathering of data or the presentation of findings. For example, in Dia de los Muertos, participants could create a collage of pictures that best represent their feelings of belonging after the event. Participants could also recreate through a skit the feelings that some of the altars evoked in them as they went through the event. Another interpretation could come in the form of music. Participants could select music that emphasizes their sense of belonging to this cultural tradition. They could create a playlist or play some different music selected and explain what they went through. There are countless ways in which participants and their families could make meaning of their experiences through the arts based approach. My favorite one when considering this research would be for participants to bring photographs of their departed loved ones and create together as a community their own altar.